Yes, yes, perfect. I'm very glad to be here today at DevWorld. My name is Loic. I work at Fiodo, web development and software development agency. I was a software engineer, a software architect, and now I'm currently leading e-commerce division as technical director. We build web applications for startups, medium-sized company or larger one, and that position allowed me to see very different architecture. Some good, but also some bad. And I'm very happy to share my learnings with you today with my favorite topic, beyond microservices, embrace composable architecture. Do you remember or already heard about the PhoneBlocks project? It was a project of modular phone. Its goal was to limit waste and plan obsolescence. If a component dies, you can just replace that component without replacing the whole device. You can also build the phone that suits you best. For instance, if you like to take photos, you can select the best camera. If you like to play video games, maybe high performance graphics. Or if you travel a lot, take a good battery. The idea was even taken by Google with Project Hour. But unfortunately, in the physical world, that dream of modularity never came true. Because in the physical world, there is a technical constraint. The phone was too thick, and it was not acceptable for the consumers. But luckily for us, in the digital world, the dream of modularity is a reality, and it's called composable architecture. Like the PhoneBlock project, it allows you to select the feature that you need most, select the feature that your business needs most. And it also ends with what it's called replatforming cycle. It's when every 5 years a company makes a huge and risky migration to replatform its monolith. With composable architecture, you can progressively migrate your component. So let's get into the topic. Who is familiar with composable architecture by raising hand? Okay, there is about 10 people, that's few, but that's totally normal because the composable architecture term is really recent. It appears for the first time in reports on emerging technologies like Gartner 3 years ago. And it says composable application will help to support resilience, adaptability, and growth of business. The term composable was also trending last year with composable commerce. Because e-commerce is a highly competitive market, e-commerce players need to innovate in order to stay in the game, and they are early adopters of new technologies. So, what is composable architecture exactly? And to understand that, we need to go back in the past to the origin of composable. And let's go back from the origin of the web in the 90s. A guy named Tim Berners-Lee, created the first browser and also HTML and HTTP, some standards still in use today. And that's the beginning of the monolithic period. Basically, you are building monolithics that build web pages that have been given to the client. It works well. 10 years later, there is 500 million web users in the world. Then, with more users, apps get bigger, and architecture have to adapt. This is the advent of services. We use service-oriented architecture to encourage reuse of features, and it also creates service and more autonomous services. Teams can deploy their own service without bothering other teams. And all these services communicate between each other using an enterprise service bus. It's also the rise of open source and SaaS services. At the time, Salesforce and Shopify released their platforms, and SAP launched its first web platforms. These platforms allows you to launch web application faster than before and faster than with custom development. And for each SaaS solution, there is open source alternative. For instance, WordPress CMS was created at the time, and Magento for e-commerce. The world was divided between two categories. We are talking about buy versus build strategy. Some prefer to buy their solution to go fast because they have classic needs, and others will prefer to build their own solution to have the total control of the feature they need. Then, Steve Jobs will present an innovation that will completely change the way we consume web, the iPhone. Web user number skyrocketed. We hit almost 2 billion in 2010. And once again, web architecture have to adapt. Welcome into the microservice boom. SOAP XML API will become JSON REST API. We create microservices that are really autonomous with their own database. It's the end of enterprise service bus, which was a single point of failure for scalability. We build headless services in order to support the multitude of devices. Cloud and containerization help to increase scalability. Those architectures are also called MAC for microservice, API first, cloud native, and headless. And on the other side, the open source and SaaS solutions also have improved a lot. These solutions are more specific, designed to a specific use case. For instance, only the search in an e-commerce website. And these solutions are now API first. You can use the API to integrate them into your ecosystem. So it's easier to integrate these services in your architecture. And today, the technologies market is so large that whatever feature you need, there is probably an app for that. If you seek, you will probably find a solution that will do the job. It may be not perfect exactly for your need, but it can help at the beginning. And the last past years, no-code and low-code solutions emerged, allowing to build custom solutions faster than before. And these solutions are also API first. So you can also totally integrate them into your architecture. Web user number is still growing. And in 2020, COVID was a global challenge, a period of uncertainty. Companies needed to adapt fast because physical stores were closed. They needed to open new services like home delivery or picking in store. And once again, web architecture had to adapt, and we entered into the composable era. So this is what is composable architecture. It's when you compose your architecture with all the previous innovation. Composable is an augmented microservice architecture mixing low code, no code, SaaS, open source, or custom-made services. It's not anymore build or buy. It's now buy and build. For each services, what can be the best solution that I can use? So how does it work? At the core component of Composable, there is the PBC, the Package Business Capability. A Package Business Capability is it's one or many services that serve a business requirement. These services can be custom code, low code, open source, or SaaS solution. And you don't have to do microservices. It's sometimes better to avoid to do too micro, but because it could lead to architecture issues. And these services and this PBC communicate with other PBC via API, event channel, or user interfaces. And we compose those PBCs to build our product. For instance, this is the traditional PBCs for e-commerce platform. There is a PBC for search, a PBC for content management, for order, for user, for authentication. Let's go through a practical example. A website that we built for a client, a French startup, marketplace that sells race tickets. They started without us, without development, only using no-code solution. They using a no-code to build their e-commerce. They used a payment provider, and without development, they have a working e-commerce platform. Then it's a marketplace, so they need to find more sellers. So they build another no-code platform to log every race that is present in France. And they synchronized the data with a CRM. And then every sales could directly call the race organizer and say, do you want to join our platform? And it works well. They had a lot of new ways to propose to their client. So now they needed to improve the user experience. That's when we helped us. We built a custom-made front-end with modern technologies. It will really improve the user experience. We also used a search engine because it's not worth it to we implement it ourselves. And we used e-commerce solution, e-commerce SaaS, for the e-commerce part. But the chosen SaaS had technical issues, some downtime, and sometimes some performance issues. But it was not a problem because with a good composable architecture, without coupling, we were able to switch to another open source solution. It took only 2 weeks. So let's review the benefits. Composable architecture allows you to go fast, a faster reaction. Like in the previous example, if you have issues with services, you can easily switch it. It allows you faster innovation. If you want to add new features, like IA chatbot, for instance, you can just add the services and add it in your architecture. It also allows you to have faster time to market because you don't spend time to reinvent, recode everything. You just pick a solution on the market and you go way faster. It also helps you to build a better user experience. This experience are more unique. It's like building with Legos. With Legos, there is an infinity of possible combination, and you can really create the experience that fit your business and the best experience for your customers. This experience are also best of the breed. You can select the best tool in each category. For instance, select the best search engine, select the best CMS. And finally, the last benefit is how you can improve technical quality. That basically one of the benefits also for microservices. Microservices helps you to bring resiliency, autonomy, and you can do, for instance, graceful degradation. If you have your chat module which is down, your whole website will not be down. We've seen an example with a startup, but it also works for big company. There is a nice talk that I encourage you to see about Lego. So it's fun that Lego use Lego architecture. And the story is few years ago, they made with their monolithic application one deployment per month. And when they released their biggest Star Wars Lego set at the time, the platform crashed when they hit 7 orders per second. They made a 4-year migration to a composable architecture, and they were saying that they were easily supporting many deployments per week and more than 35 orders per second. So wow, composable architecture seems incredible. We should all use it, but now there is trade-off. By composing, you can also create monsters, and you can lose all the previewed benefits. If you make a bad implementation, you can regress the technical quality. And if you regress the technical quality, if there is bugs, if there is performance issues, I don't think your user will be very happy, and so you regress the user experience. And also, with bad implementation, you can create a lot of dependency between your services. You just can create coupling. And if you create coupling, you can't easily switch your services. You can't easily replace your modules. And it will be hard to add new features, and you lose your time to market. So let's see together how to really succeed your composable architecture application. I'm going to share with you learnings I made to overcome the challenges of composable architecture. And the first challenge is really how to choose the right tool. Such a difficult question, because there is so many tools, so many strategies. And to answer this question, you have to ask yourself many other questions. First, should I buy or build? There is a simple model, analyze value and analyze cost. For value, pay attention to functional coverage. Does the solution has all the features that you need? But really avoid over-planning. You may need feature, but you may not need those features now. And instead, when buying a solution, you can generate value now. About cost, pay attention and calculate the TCO, total cost of ownership, with every hidden cost. It includes license, implementation, maintenance, hosting, the deletion of the solution, and SaaS price costs are often pay per use. So the more user you will have, the more you will pay. It is more convenient at the beginning of a project. At the opposite, building a solution is more an investment in the long term because a development cost should work no matter the number of users. So to sum up, buying brings you value faster when building is a long-term investment, so prefer to buy first, then build. The second question to ask yourself is the solution composable? There is two goals. The first one is it will be easy to integrate this solution into my ecosystem. And the second goal is to avoid vendor locking. We want to be able to switch and remove the solution easily. For that, look at the API. Look at the event channel. Is there webhooks that you can use to extract the data? And if you want to remove the solution, can you migrate easily all the data from your database? Also, check if the solution is usable partially. For instance, if I'm using an e-commerce solution, could I use only the catalog feature, the catalog modules, and for the checkout, for instance, can I use an external services and not the same e-commerce platform? If you need some example of composable tools, there is Mac Alliance, which certifies vendor in that alliance. Also, you can check if there is available integration with other services. For instance, always in e-commerce, is there plugins that you can use to synchronize your product directly with your content management system, or synchronize product to your search engine? So to sum up, check APIs, check the quality of the APIs, check if the solution is usable partially, and check if many integrations are available. Then ask yourself, how is the technical quality of the solutions? In the past, I had a misconception. I was too naive, and I told myself, if I will use a SaaS solution, I don't have to worry about technical quality, about performance and all the other stuff, because quality is a priority for a SaaS provider. It will be fine. So, spoiler alert, that's not true. Remember the example of the marketplace earlier with downtown and performance issues. SaaS provider also have bugs. SaaS provider also have deadlines, and so you need you can't trust these platforms. When a SaaS solution have issues, this is so frustrating because you don't own the code. There is nothing you can do to fix it. So don't trust anyone and audit deeply the technical quality of a SaaS solution. Beware of performance. Measure the response time of APIs. Look into weight limits. Are those weight limits sufficient for your traffic? Beware of stability. Check the history of uptime and downtime. Beware of security. Where is the data stored? Some SaaS only store data in the US, and it could be against some some European legislation rule. In short, don't trust anyone and audit the technical quality deeply. And last but not least, think about the skills in your teams. Will the teams will be able to evolve and maintain the architecture? Let me tell you a short story. We built an e-commerce website with an open source e-commerce solution based on GraphQL, Nest.js. It provides a lot of nice stuff like dependency injection, end-to-end typing. The project was great and the client was very happy. Another day, another client, we proposed the exact same stack to the client because the project was the same project basically, but the client only have junior front-end developers. And we think it will be easy for them to switch because after all, it's just JavaScript. It's JavaScript everywhere. It should be fine. And no, it was a fail. The client team struggled to deliver features during the first week, and we had to change the solution, moving to a low-code solution for the backend. So evaluate and train your team. And sometimes you have to accept to not choose the best solution for your need, but choose the best solution for your needs and your teams. And that error can be very costly. I've met CTOs of big company in France that selected great technologies, but technologies without community, without developer able to maintain this technology, and it cost a lot because the company were just stuck, not able to evolve. The second challenge is how to compose this tool efficiently. Compose this tool without modularity issue, without performance issue, and without bugs. We have seen that composable is the evolution of previous architecture. So most of previous architecture concepts are still valid. So you have to learn about software architecture of previous architecture. I have selected 3 great books that I recommend, and we will see how their learnings can be applied to composable architecture. The first one is DDD, Domain-Driven Design. These books help us to build better software by working closely with business people and users. One great learnings from DDD is anti-corruption layer, ACL. By using this pattern, you avoid to create coupling between your modules. Remember the marketplace example earlier. By decoupling the front end, we create an ACL, an anti-corruption layer, and when we had to switch the solution, we were just able to switch by only rewriting the ACL layer. If you don't use an ACL, it can be very costly because you have to rewrite your entire front end. I've met the CTO of a French supermarket, like Albert Ange here. They spent about 1 year to build their e-commerce platform on top of e-commerce SaaS. And 2 years ago, they wanted to switch their e-commerce SaaS. And they just couldn't because they didn't created ACL in their front end. And they had to get rid of their front end. It was a lot of waste. So use ACL even in the front end. Another great book is Building Microservices. This book learns how to deploy really autonomous microservices. And these services should communicate between each other via API or event channel. Don't be afraid of duplicating data. When using SaaS or no-code, low-code solution, these tools can have performance limitation. They can have weight limits. So you can just sync the data to your own database, for instance, a Postgre database, using various SaaS, other SaaS, they can do that. And when you are doing that with your own database, you can just build your custom services on top on those databases. And boom, there is no more performance issue, no more weight limits. Another great learning is how to handle errors. And I want to focus on that part, because with a distributed architecture, it's really hard to find the root cause of a bug. Because a bug in a service can create a bug in another services, and there is a chain of reaction. So I highly recommend to use a centralized monitoring system to gather all of your logs, and also to implement a distributed request tracing system. It's even more difficult with Composable than with microservice, because you use SaaS, and SaaS are a black box. You can't have access to the SaaS logs. So what you can do, you can monitor external API calls by using interceptors. You can log the response of external APIs. You can also monitor the performance of external APIs. And if there is a problem, you can just send the dashboard to the SaaS. And the last book is Clean Architecture. This book talks about onion architecture or hexagonal architecture. It's learn how to split your services with 3 layers: infrastructure, application, and domain. It also learn you about port and adapter pattern to once again avoid coupling your services. Port and adapter are like ACL. And again, the key of a good composable architecture is really avoid coupling, to be able to remove services and switch them easily. The third challenge is how to organize your teams. I don't know if you know the Conway law. Organization which design systems are constrained to produce design which are copies of the communication structure of these organizations. Basically, it means that a bad organization will lead to a bad architecture. Here, a little real-world example to illustrate that. In a project, we had 2 teams. A catalog team in charge of product pages, and we had a checkout team in charge of the checkout. A product manager asked to the catalog team to display taxes in the product page. And another project manager asked the checkout teams to display taxes in the cart. Guess what happened? They both created a tax calculator. So we did a refactor when we saw it, but how could we prevent this behavior? Because this behavior is very common when you have an independent team. When you have independent team that not communicate a lot. One answer is to improve the communication structure. You can create synchronization meetings between tech lead. It leads to a tech synchronization meeting. You can create synchronization meeting between project manager. And it's important to have efficient governance to align every team with the same goals and objectives. There is another great book that I recommend in order to organize the teams. It's Team Topologies. It's about the different kind of teams that exist and how to use them. There is, for instance, the stream align teams. That's teams focused on a particular use case that can work on all the technical stack. There is the platform team. The platform team enable the other teams by providing infrastructure or architecture tools, for instance. For instance, they work on monitoring. And there is also enabling team. Enabling team are teams that will unlock dependencies to allow streamline team to work. And finally, there is complicated subsystem teams. If you have isolated complex environment or topic. For instance, in e-commerce, you can have teams dedicated on payment. So we've seen the third challenges when using composable architecture. Now you can implement a good architecture and enjoy the benefits. But we are just at the beginning. Like I said earlier, we are just scratching the surface of composable applications. The plateau of productivity should be reached in around 5 years. Some tech giants are following the movement. They invest a lot in composable by building better API. For instance, Shopify launched a Shopify component to be usable partially. Salesforce launched a composable storefront last year. And we've seen many technologies that facilitate composition. With services, you have more and more integration between these services. You have plugins to synchronize the data between them. There is also front-end as a service that it's pre-built front that can have pre-built components to connect to some SaaS or CMS. And more recently, there is DXCP. DXCP are a digital experience composition platform. These platforms are low-code page builder with drag and drop. You can compose the pages using low-code component, but you can also use custom components built with your favorite framework, React, Vue, Angular, Quick, etc. This low-code can also fetch data from external APIs and have integration to major SaaS. And all of this composition can be hosted by the digital experience composition platform. But you can also fetch everything in your own custom front-end. For instance, if you have a Next.js, you can fetch everything and host it on your own environment. Yes. So DXCP allows you to build user experiences faster than ever. For instance, on the same website that earlier, we build a complete blog inside a custom app without any development. But using these tools create dependency. When you use a tool to compose every other tools, but you have a strong dependency on the composition tools. All the bricks became easily replaceable, except the tool that compose all the other. And that can really cause problems. If the composition platforms is down, your whole website will be down. If you want to switch the composition platform, it will be costly and will take time. This is an opportunity, and the cloud hosting solution are also following the movement. Last year, Netlify became the composable web platform. It basically became a digital experience platform, not only hosting, but also composing every other tools. Vercel did a similar move a few months earlier, becoming the Vercel front-end cloud and having a great feature like visual editing to fetch data from CMS. So let's conclude. Web architecture evolved. Composable is just the evolution of microservices. Composable brings many benefits. Resilience against a changing environment, better time to market, and better user experience. But it's complicated to implement. You need a good knowledge of the market, of the different SaaS that you can use, how to choose the right tools. You also need a good knowledge of software architecture. It's only the beginning. We've seen many technologies that are coming to ease the composition. The future may be uncertain, but an uncertain future is bright for composable applications. Thank you for listening.